Hello and welcome to Twin Coves. This is the demo to a paranormal romance mystery visual novel, and in this case paranormal means werewolves, vampires, that kind of thing. No ghosts. At least I don't think there are any ghosts in here. And the shop page still lists 6 male love interests, but if you're following the Kickstarter updates, there will be 9 in total now, as well as some poly routes. That's quite exciting. So the full game will have many endings, as well as dead ends. We might even run into a dead end in the demo. Fingers crossed that we're not. And yeah, as for some quick warnings, this is a murder mystery, so you can expect, typical violence, blood, that kind of thing. There will be discussions of death and grief, as well as mental health issues, just so you're aware. But let us jump in. It's dark and cold. My head is throbbing like my brain is trying to escape through my eyeballs, and my shoulder burns like it's been set on fire. Everything hurts. I wanted to stop. Hey, kid. Gideon? Hey, kid. It's time to wake up. Okay, pick a main character. So for the demo, we only have this default feminine sprite, but for the full game, you will both have a feminine and a masculine sprite, as well as being able to customize your own. That's pretty exciting, but for now we only have this one option. What is your name? Morgan Cooper, or choose your own name? I'm going to go with the default. And what is your gender? Female, male, non-binary? I'm sticking with female. And my pronouns are she, her. My name is Miss Morgan Cooper, and I use she, her. This is correct, yes. Wisteria Games. Twin Coves. September 1999. Chapter 1. Poking an Old Wound. I jerk awake, scanning the room for Gideon, but he isn't there. Of course he isn't. It's been a week since his funeral, and I'm alone in a small apartment, like I have been since his heart attack. Though, I guess it's mine now, along with his car and his business, Clearwater Investigations. Everything, aside from the apartment, was left to me in his will. Thankfully, the rent was paid through until the end of the year, so at least I don't have to worry about finding a new place to live. Not for a few more months. My eyes burn with unshed tears as I swallow down the lump in my throat. Even now, Gideon is looking out for me. I reach up to rub at my temples. My head and shoulder are throbbing like a bitch, which means I dreamed of being in the hospital again. Though the pounding head could also be from the light night whiskey. Probably both. 6 months ago, I thought waking up in a hospital was the worst it could get. Almost getting killed does have a way of fucking up your life. Leaving my dream job as a journalist and running away to my hometown to live with a gruff old werewolf seemed almost sensible at the time. But now, Gideon's gone. My heart lurches in my chest, and I turn my attention to the front door, eyes trained on it as if I'll be able to see through it to the other side if I try hard enough. There's another knock a moment later, followed by a muffled voice. I can't quite catch what they say. The knocking must have been what woke me up. I glanced at the clock. 9:28 a.m. 2 minutes until my alarm would have gone off anyway. I shut it off. I wasn't expecting anyone this morning, and there's a small panicky part of me that wants just to ignore them until they go away. Okay, first choice, pretend I'm not home, see who it is, go back to sleep. Well, we were going to get up anyway, and I'm curious, so let's see who it is. I sigh. I should at least see who it is. I rub my eyes and swing my legs over the side of the couch where I fell asleep last night, again, and nearly trip over an empty whiskey bottle in the process as I make my way to the door. I kick it aside with a curse. Last night was a bad one. Thankfully, I make it the few feet to my destination without face planting, and I pause to press my eye to the peephole, squinting to make out the figure standing on the other side. It takes my brain a moment to process the face. Damien Luna? What's the leader of the Paloma werewolf pack doing here? He'd come by to visit Gideon a few times since I moved in, and he'd been at the funeral, of course. I think he may have been the only fellow werewolf Gideon kept in contact with. My hands tremble a little as I undo the locks, even though I know who's on the other side. It's a new development I can't seem to shake. I never used to be like this. Breathe in. Breathe out. My hand lingers on the doorknob, willing myself to turn it. In 1, 2. I open the door to find Damien standing in the hall, hands in his pockets and looking apologetic. He steps back a bit as I hover in the half-open doorway. Hi. It comes more of a question than a greeting. Good morning. Apologies for dropping by unannounced. Did I wake you? He runs a hand through his thick curls, glancing briefly past me into the apartment. I hope I don't look as rough as I feel, or that he can see the clearly slept-upon couch or whiskey bottle on the floor. I was in the area. I thought I'd stop by, ask if you needed anything. He clears his throat and turns back to look at me. See how you are doing. I'm okay, I say, like a liar. Just getting ready to head out soon. Oh, good. I won't keep you then. He smiles kindly, his expression softening, then falling to a frown. Gideon was a good friend, and I know you meant a lot to him. And he meant a lot to me. He was the closest thing I had to a father. If you ever do need anything, or just want to talk, please don't hesitate to call. Anytime, day or night. You still have my number? I cross my arms tightly over my chest and nod. Yeah, of course. Damien was the one who called me to let me know Gideon was gone. We only talked a few times after that, mostly about the funeral, and Gideon leaving everything to me in his will. He runs his hand through his hair again, Summerfoot now sticking up, making him look more boyish. I always assumed pack leaders were these tough, grizzled werewolves, like Gideon. But Damien always struck me as more of the type you'd see on the cover of Time magazine, not running a small pack in the middle of nowhere. Though I vaguely remember Gideon mentioning him taking over the role was unexpected. I'm surprised he dropped by, especially since I'm not pack and thus technically not his concern. He hesitates for a moment, like he wants to say more, but thinks better of it. I'll let you go then. Take care, Morgan. Yeah, you too. Okay, call out after him to thank him or let him leave. I'm gonna thank him. He dips his chin in parting and heads to the stairs, but before he's more than a few steps down, I call out after him. Hey, Damien? He turns back to face me. Thanks for stopping by. Really. I'd have invited you in, but I have somewhere to be and... He waves a hand to cut me off and smiles again, the left corner of his mouth rising a little higher than the right. No, I truly just wanted to see you were doing okay. As okay as can be expected. I'm glad you have somewhere to be. And again, I'm here to talk. Anytime. I mean it. I nod and watch him descend, then wait for the click of the exit door before I close my own door and lock it, checking the deadbolt twice. He's been nothing but kind to me. It was nice of him to stop by, though I wish it had been at a better time. Who am I kidding? There hasn't been a good time in a while. I shake my head, dislodging my thoughts from Damien. I need to meet Xander Cross in less than an hour, and if I'm going to get through the day, I'll need all the caffeinated help I can get. So, I mean, that clearly was a choice towards Damien as a love interest, was it? I don't want to go into these games with too much of an analytical brain, you know? I just want to make the choices I would make, or I would make in this situation maybe, as this character. But also I haven't decided at all which character I would date. For some games, I know pretty much when I read the description or when I see them. For this, I think it's going to be a big mystery all around, like not only the story but also the characters. So, yeah. Just saying, I don't think I have any bias towards anyone right now, but just going with the flow. The coffee maker clicks on just as I enter the kitchen, right on time. After the pot is full, I pour myself a cup. Scoop in a few spoonfuls of sugar, or I add a splash of whiskey. Okay, now let's go with sugar. The sugar is barely dissolved when I take a sip, the gritty texture making me grimace. I gulp some down, barely tasting it, glancing at the series of sticky notes on the window ledge over the sink, with things like, "Remember to eat," and "It's a nice day, take a walk on the beach," written on them. Only the last one is in my handwriting. The previous ones were reminders Gideon left me. Okay, meeting with Mr. Cross, September 12th at 10:30 AM. Do not be late. I wasn't in the best place after I left the hospital. I barely left the apartment for months at first, afraid they had followed me here, that they were waiting around every corner to finish the job. I finish off my cup and set the mug in the sink next to the other dirty dishes I haven't gotten around to cleaning. The trash also needs to be taken out, the bin overflowing with empty Jolt, cola cans, coffee filters and takeout containers. I add it to my mental list of things to do. Later. After splashing some water on my face at the kitchen sink, I quickly brush my teeth. It'll do. I change out of my sweats and ratty t-shirt and throw on my unofficial uniform of jeans and a grey hoodie, slipping my feet into my go-to shoes. A worn pair of dogs or a comfy pair of sneakers? Both sounds nice, but I'd usually go with sneakers. I glance at my clock again, 9:45 AM. Should be enough time to swing by Moe's Diner and grab something to eat. There sure as hell isn't anything edible left in the fridge, unless I want to eat a mustard and moldy bread sandwich. I should also go grocery shopping. Eventually. I'm gearing up to unlock the various locks and dirt balls once again, when another note catches my eye. Wear a jacket, it's getting cold out. Gee. That pesky lump in my throat comes back at the sight of the last sticky note Gideon left me. Okay, I hear you, Gideon. I pull open the closet door and peer at the rack of decades out-of-fashion coats and threadbare jackets. I brush my hand over every one, passing by my own until I land on the one I want. A leather jacket or a jean jacket? Ooh. I'm personally more of a jean jacket type, but leather jacket sounds warmer. I'll stick with what I'd wear, jean jacket. I grab Gideon's old jean jacket and tug it on. The material is so worn, it's almost soft. It doesn't fit, but I don't care. I bury my nose into the collar for a moment, inhaling the calming, familiar scent of evergreen trees and mint that still lingers. I take a few deep breaths before unlocking the door, then step out into the hall and lock it behind me. I hate that my heart pounds at just the thought of leaving the apartment. I can do this. Everything will be fine. Breathe in. Breathe out. I adjust my hair, making sure it covers my scar, and check twice to make sure the door is locked before heading out to start my day. My first normal one in a while. I like the way they're telling this so far. Like, not pushing too much exposition on you and just describing what it's like. Really nice. Thankfully, Moe's Diner is only a 2-minute walk away, right on the beach with a view of the town's lighthouse. It was Gideon's favorite place in Twin Coves. He could eat a Moe's double bacon cheeseburger for breakfast, lunch and dinner. And he did. Often. I swallow hard and force myself to think of something else. Prying into my waffles won't be a good look on my first day eating there since his passing. I turn the corner to Moe's, then slip in through the back entrance into the familiar din of the diner. The bell over the door chimes as I enter, and Norma looks up at me from her current task of refilling the salt and pepper shakers to give me a warm smile. Well, look who the cat dragged in. She's been one of the waitresses at Moe's forever. She worked here when my mom did, back when I was a kid. Occasionally, my mom had to take me to work with her when she couldn't find a babysitter in the summer. Norma would sneak me plates of onion rings through the day, making me pinky swear not to tell. Though, looking back, I'm sure my mom knew. She gives me a once-over, eyeing my choice of outfit. So I've been living in giant hoodies for a few months. Sue me. Don't knock giant hoodies, they're the best, honestly. You're here early this morning. I give a non-committal shrug. I think she's more surprised that I'm here at all. Your appointment is here. I wasn't sure if you were going to show. I must be giving her a baffled look because she motions with her head towards a booth at the end. Young man, tall, skinny, whole lot of freckles? Still doesn't ring a bell. I wasn't supposed to meet anyone, at least not here. I just needed my waffle fix before I headed over to Ivy House. Well, he's been waiting for you. Or for Clearwater Investigations, which is you now. She fills the last salt shaker and leans in, eyes dancing, conspiratorially. He's cute. I roll my eyes. That's exactly what I need right now. Norma arches a brow, though her all-knowing look isn't lost on me. Go meet him, or don't. It's no skin off my teeth. She disappears into the kitchen, and I grunt, then head towards the booths, scanning for this supposed meeting of mine. I spot someone matching Norma's description, and at first, I'm just as confused. I don't think I'm supposed to meet anyone other than Mr. Cross this morning, unless Gideon had an appointment he didn't tell me about. But I was practically his secretary, so I doubt it. Yet I can't shake the feeling that there's something about him that's familiar. His head is down. Long, unruly hair with just a hint of red hides half his face, and he's wearing a jean jacket that's seen better days. It's not until I spy the guitar case leaning against the back of the booth in the seat across from him that it clicks. I blink a few times, just to be sure. Cassidy? Cassidy Fisher? I practically shriek his name, and a few diner patrons turn to look at me like I've lost it. But then he looks up at me with those same blue-green eyes. Morgan? He looks around like he's also trying to figure out what the hell I'm doing here. I hesitantly make my way over to his booth, and he slides out, unfolding his lanky frame to greet me. It's weirdly comforting to see he's just as gangly as ever, all arms and legs. He steps forward, maybe for a hug, but pauses without raising his arms, waiting to see what I'll do. We're going to give him a hug. I let him wrap me in a hesitant hug, then slide into the bench seat opposite him next to his guitar. I can't help but smile as he retakes his seat. What are you doing here? I cringe at my slightly accusatory tone and try again. Actually, the tone's fair. What the hell are you doing in Twin Coves, Cassidy? This is crazy. I could ask you the same thing. I live here. This is my hometown. Your turn. He rests his elbows on the table and rubs the back of his neck. Well, I was here to meet someone named Gideon Clearwater, but the waitress over there seems to think that's you. I glance over my shoulder at Norma to see her watching us out of the corner of her eye as she pours a new cup of coffee. Busybody. I turn back to Cassidy as he looks up at me through his impossibly long lashes. You change your name on me, Jellybean? We both freeze at Cass's slip-up, the term of endearment he used when we dated years ago. He starts to apologize, but I shrug it off. No name change. I took over his business. Gideon Clearwater died 2 weeks ago. My throat tightens, and I blink away the wetness threatening to gather in the corner of my eyes. Talking about him out loud is always worse. He had a heart attack while I was out on a stakeout. It was sudden. The coroner said his heart just... I stop. Cassidy doesn't need to know all this. He reaches out and lays a hand over mine, his palm dry and rough. Shit, Morgan. I'm sorry. He meant a lot to you? Yeah. He did. I've known him since I was a kid. He was like... I swallow. and it feels like gulping down sandpaper. You know, I remember you talking about a Gideon back when I just didn't put two and two together, I guess. He looks out the window to the ocean, face pensive, then his brows drawn together. Thankfully, Norma comes around to take our order, though I have a feeling she's been holding off as not to interrupt our reunion. She pulls out her order pad and then plucks the pen from behind her ear. So, what kind of waffles will it be this morning, hon? Ooh, plain blueberry or chocolate? Let's go blueberry. She looks to Cass, who just asks for another glass of water, and she moves on. Not eating? No, I already ate, before I got here. I lean back in the booth and cross my arms, pinning him with my best stare. So, how did you know Gideon? Cass mimics my pose and arches a brow, though I can tell he's trying not to smile. Perhaps I've lost my touch. He gives in and sighs, rubbing at the back of his neck again. I didn't really. I got his business card from someone a while ago. Gave the number a call to see if Gideon could help me out. He said if I could come to Twin Coves, he'd see what he could do. So we set a date to meet, and I made my way here. Still not staying in one place for long. I take a sip of water and look away in the hopes of appearing casual, but Cassidy must hear something in my tone, because his face falls and he starts picking at a loose thread on his sleeve. Morgan, I cut him off. I'm not looking for apologies years too late. Why did you call, Gideon? He doesn't answer for a moment, shifting in his seat. It's my mom. I haven't heard from her in a while, and I'm worried. She's never been one to keep in touch regularly, but even my granny and granddad haven't heard from her. I was hoping Gideon could maybe find her, make sure she's okay. An uneasy feeling begins to ease its way through my initial surprise at seeing Cassidy sitting at my hometown diner. Is that really all that's wrong? Oh god, don't let me pronounce that name. It's not Siobhan, is it? Siobhan? How do you pronounce that? I once knew, I think. Ooh. Siobhan, right? Siobhan Fisher is her name? Sorry. Cass glances up at me, surprised. Yeah, that's right. Norma appears before I can say anything else to drop off my plate of waffles, along with a glass of orange juice and a steaming cup of coffee I didn't order. I thank her and pull the coffee mug closer. We're going to add sugar. I don't even drink coffee, or very rarely, and definitely never black. I grab a couple packets from the holder and dump them in. I take a sip and burn my tongue a bit, but I need all the caffeine I can get today. I bring a forkful of syrup-drenched waffle to my mouth, but as soon as the food hits my tongue, all I taste is cardboard, and I'm tempted to spit it back out. It's not the cooking. Most is always good. It just doesn't taste the same without Gideon sitting across from me. I drop my fork onto my plate and push them away. I could look for your mom for you, if you want. I take another sip of coffee and watch Cass's expression morph from shock to disbelief to something else I can't pinpoint. No, That's okay. Thanks, though. I'm sure she's fine. She always is. I was going to tell Gideon not to bother when I met him this morning. I just didn't want to not show up. Okay, stay quiet. Would have been nice if you showed up 7 years ago. That sounds so accusing. At the same time, I do want to know more. But ooh. Yeah, no, I don't want to be confrontational. I bite my tongue. It would have been nice if Cass had shown up 7 years ago instead of breaking up with me by note. I mean, really? Who does that? But it's been years. Maybe he's changed, and I never got the full story as to why. So that's what I'm immediately thinking. If she's saying before that he's not want to stay in one place, that can be just like a personality trait. You're always looking for something new. I don't know the word in English right now, but yeah, if you're not someone to settle down. But I'm thinking, especially with this whole setting, there must be more to it. Something he's not telling us. Maybe to protect us? Yeah, we don't know the full story. Maybe one day. I lean back and eye my full plate of waffles. I just can't bring myself to take another bite. Want the rest? I nudge my plate across the table to him. I'm not as hungry as I thought I was. Cassidy accepts without comment and digs in, shoveling bite after bite. He still eats like every meal is his last then, too. Where he puts it all, I'll never know. You sure you don't want any? The words are a little unintelligible with his mouth full of waffles. I fight a smile and nod before finishing my coffee. I'm good. I have an important meeting after this. Probably for the best I don't show up in a waffle coma. Norma swings by the table to drop off the check. As always, it just says "on the house" with a little smiley face next to it. A perk of my mom and Norma being good friends back in the day. And Gideon probably keeping this place financially afloat. I pull out my battered wallet and leave a 10 on the table anyway, then count the remaining bills. I need to remember to stop by the grocery store later today. Maybe add a vegetable to my diet. Maybe. What's the meeting? He takes another giant forkful of waffle, then washes it down with half of my glass of OJ. I wasn't going to drink that anyway, so I guess it's good it won't go to waste. Oh, one of Gideon's regular clients wanted to discuss something with me. Perhaps a potential job. So you're really going to be a private investigator? I sniff. Why not? It's not so different from journalism. But I thought journalism was your dream. He would know. We met my first year out of college when I was still green and eager for any story I could get my hands on. Still naive. Dreams change. Especially if they almost get you killed. Thankfully, Gideon encouraged me to take the exam to get my private investigator's license a month or so back. You need a license for that? Okay. I'm not saying this is going to be the rest of my life, but it's fine for now. I helped Gideon on a lot of cases, so I know what I'm doing. Mostly. And it's not like anything happens in a town like this. It's going to be all missing cats and cheating spouses. Cassidy looks thoughtful for a moment, dragging the last bite of waffle around the plate to gather the final remnants of syrup. I just never imagined you would ever not want to be a journalist. being a big shot journalist was all you ever talked about. Cass. Did something happen? A spear of cold jolts through me, and I do my best to keep my expression neutral. Sure, it was what I wanted. I had been so close to making a name for myself. But things change. Things go wrong. Frankly, it's none of your business. Cass winces just a little at the sharpness in my voice. I gentle my tone. It's not like you know me anymore. It's been 7 years. It still hurts the way he left. It was so long ago, I've moved on. Huh. Wait, so we're talking about Cassidy here, yeah? Where he left was so long I've moved on. I'm going with it still hurts, the way he left. As much as I hate to admit it to myself, I really liked Cassidy. Sure, our relationship was just 2 kids, barely out of college for me, who knows what for Cassidy, trying to make it in the big city. We were too young for it to have been anything serious, in retrospect. But when you see someone almost every day for 6 months, and then one day they're gone, and all you have left is a note saying they're sorry, it hurts. Even 7 years later. Cass seems to notice the shift in mood and leans forward, hands out in front of him like an offering. I am sorry, you know, how I left. I've never been good at goodbyes, and you deserved better than that. Than me. Cassidy looks out the window to the water, the light streaming in from the morning sun highlighting the red tones in his hair and catching his irises just right. They almost look like little oceans of their own, waves of blue and green, churning and swirling. The freckles across his face stand out against his bronze skin. Unbidden, a memory from back when we were together flits through my mind. Us sitting in a booth like this one, while I connect the dots on his arms, like my own personal activity book. You were the first person I stayed with for longer than a few months. He chuckles, but there is no humor in it. Eventually, he returns his gaze to me and shoots me a lopsided grin. A scar I've never noticed before stands out against his cheek, right over his left smile line. His hands find mine again, and he gives them a gentle squeeze. How I left was shitty, and I am sorry, genuinely. I hope one day you'll be able to forgive me. I nod once and start to slide my hands away after I realize he's still holding them, his eyes locked on mine. They're so warm, I almost don't want to let go. It's fine. It was a long time ago. Cassidy takes the hint and removes his hands, then clears his throat. So it sounds like you did all the legwork for Gideon, and he got all the credit. I shrug. That's what I liked about working with Gideon. He gave me a place to stay and food to eat, never asked for rent or to pitch in with a grocery bill. And on top of that, he paid me for my time. If he wanted to claim the glory, fine by me. Delivering the findings to clients is the worst part anyway. I glance at the clock over the front door of the diner. Shit, it's nearly 10:15. I better get going. Cassidy seems to be about to say something else, so I hang back for a moment before sliding out of the booth. Ivy House is about a 5-minute drive from downtown. I have a little extra time. He pulls at the loose thread on his sleeve again. Can I get your number? Do I want Cassidy Fisher back in my life? After all this time? Give him another chance or don't give him another chance. Well, I am inclined to give him another chance. You still have the number you used to call Gideon? Sure. That's the line to the apartment. We never had a separate business line. I slide from the booth and pull my jacket tighter around me. My voice softens. Don't make me regret this, Cass. He gets out of the booth and pulls me into a hug. His body feels nice against mine, like it always did. His voice is barely above a whisper as he speaks into my ear. You won't. Then he pulls away. I have to get back to work myself. Work? Yeah, I got a job as a deckhand on a commercial fishing boat out here. Thought I'd hang around at least until the end of the season. Earn some extra cash. Oh, I didn't realize you were staying in town for a bit. He smiles cheekily. How else would we go out on a date? I arch my brow in return. Oh, we're going out, are we? You know you need to ask me first. That's what your phone number's for. He smiles and grabs his guitar, hiking the strap up his shoulder. I don't know what to say to that. This is too much for a Thursday morning. I really have to go. He raises a hand in goodbye as I back away. See you around, Morgan. I turn and head for the back exit, trying not to read too much into his flirting. He probably didn't mean it. Did he, though? My mind is elsewhere as I pass by the patrons sitting at the counter. The sound of glass shattering makes me jump, and I glance back to see a bottle of ketchup splattered on the black and white tile floor. It takes me a moment to realize I've stopped, that I'm staring down at the thick red liquid mixed with shards of glass sprayed across the linoleum. The contrast catches on something in my mind, my heart thundering in my chest. Blood and glass, red on white. My forehead and shoulders start to throb, and I practically sprint the rest of the way to the exit, desperately needing a breath of fresh air. I think I hear someone calling my name, but I ignore it, the words dying as the door swings closed behind me. My heart is still thumping as I lean against the wall of the diner. I breathe in through my nose and out through my mouth. It was just ketchup, for God's sake. I need to get it together. After a moment, I make my way over to Gideon's car, a classic 1968 Dodge Charger. Though, I guess it's my car now. The chill of the autumn air fills my lungs, and I breathe in, out, until my heart rate slows and my head stops pounding. I'm sorry. I pull Gideon's jacket closer around me as I walk, pressing my nose into the collar to inhale the comforting scent of evergreen, allowing it to calm down, to calm me. But I stop short when I reach the car. A rusted teal pickup truck is parked at the curb right behind my Charger, nearly boxing me in. It's rare to see an unfamiliar car in this town, and this one I would have noticed. It also looks as if it time traveled here from the 20s. And did they need to park so close? I don't have time to puzzle out this new vehicle, so I ignore it for now and climb into the driver's seat, batting an empty can of Jolt Cola to the floor in the process. I crank the engine to life and tune the radio to my favorite station. Classic rock, metal or country? Not a big country fan. Let's go with classic rock. I follow the road to Ivy House as it winds through the forest that consumes half of Tooncount's peninsula. The trees so dense, it's impossible to get a sense of how large the town is, or even where you are sometimes. It's easy to feel like you're the only one left in the world driving around here. I glance at the clock on the dash. 10:22 a.m. I press down on the accelerator. I should make it on time if I floor it, just a little. It's not as if there's ever any... Oh no. No. A siren begins blaring from behind me, and curse my luck as I slow, the red and blue lights flashing in my rear window. My hands tighten on the wheel, and I veer off to the shoulder of the road, the shrill whine drilling into my head, making my forehead throb for the third time today. I never liked law enforcement much before everything, but I especially dislike them now. And that goes double for the law in Twin Coves. They're a bunch of henchmen at the beck and call of the mayor and city council, serving the interests of the wealthy who live in Eastside. When it's all of us in Old Town that support Twin Coves and keep it afloat. I glance back as I come to a stop, waiting for them to pull up behind me. But the sheriff's department SUV just flies around me and continues down the road, disappearing around a bend. I sag into my seat, exhale, and continue on my way. I pull into the discreet drive that leads to Ivy House, marked only by an iron gate. The bed and breakfast is a renovated Tudor-style manor house built in the 1920s by a descendant of one of the town's founding families. Though it's belonged to the same man for nearly 80 years, Xander Cross, Twin Cove's only vampire resident. For someone as wealthy and well-traveled as he is, it's a mystery as to why he bothers with such a quaint business. My tires crunch over the gravel as I slow to a stop. The sheriff's department SUV is parked in the drive up ahead, and I watch as the sheriff himself climbs out. Gunner North. We both went to Battle Creek High one town over. It's jarring seeing him all these years later in anything other than a Letterman jacket. I steel my nerves with a few deep breaths, then slowly get out of my car, but my heartbeat picks up again anyway. I'm too young to be having this many heart palpitations in a day. The sight of an ambulance has me frozen in place. I take another deep breath. In, out. I do my best to ignore the increasing ringing in my ears, the panic attack seconds away from sending me into a spiral. I see the sheriff's lips moving, but I'm too far away to make out what he's saying. All I can think is, they're here. They've come to finish the job. A moment later, I see two people, paramedics, emerge from the tree line on the far side of the house, something long and white between them. It takes a second for my brain to process that it is a stretcher and what looks like a sheet spread out over it. One of the paramedics stumbles on the transition between gravel and grass, tipping the stretcher ever so slightly. An ashen arm falls to the side, hanging limp as the paramedics continue on to the ambulance, unaware. But it's not the sight of a dead body that has my heart seizing in my chest. I've seen a few of those before. It's the rose tattoo on the wrist. Even from this distance, I'd know it anywhere. Chills wash over me in freezing waves as my mouth goes dry and my hands begin to shake. It's all I can do not to throw up the coffee and bite of waffle I had this morning. Thankfully, I don't have a full stomach. I take a step forward or back, I'm not sure, but my legs are like jelly and they give out from under me. My knees and palms take the brunt of the impact as I slam into the sharp gravel, but I don't feel a thing. Blood spreads out from beneath my hands, snaking through the white rocks like tiny rivers of red. I can't breathe. I can't think. I should have run farther. I shouldn't have come back. A hand appears in my line of vision, though I didn't hear anyone approach. There's a brief moment where I'm not sure what's real and what's not. Maybe this is all a dream. Maybe I'll wake up in Gideon's apartment any minute now. We'll go to Moe's. Order all the waffles we can get. I squeeze my eyes shut. Breathe in. Breathe out. Miss Cooper? In, out. In, out. Miss Cooper, can you hear me? Morgan, look at me. I feel a light touch on my shoulder, and I blink my eyes open to see someone crouched down in front of me, blocking my view. My eyes focus on their face. Can you stand? Do you need help? I flinch back at the idea. No, I'm definitely not fine. I look down to the gravel, but the blood is gone as if it was never there. Just pristine white gravel. Though now I'm starting to feel the stinging in my knees and palms. I can stand. I slowly rise to my feet and Mr. Cross ushers me into the house, calling something over his shoulder to someone as he directs me to an old-fashioned couch in the lobby and instructs me to sit. Let us do something for your hands, yes? His voice is deep and calming, his accent slightly French, but there's something else beneath it. I've yet to put my finger on it though. I've heard him speak at least 10 languages since I started helping Gideon on jobs for Mr. Cross. A first aid kit appears seemingly out of nowhere, and Mr. Cross gently takes my hands and turns them over. There are little pinpricks of red from where the stones dug into my skin, covered in a layer of white dust and dirt. He dabs at the wounds with an alcohol pad in silence, and I focus on the stinging instead of how stupid I feel, collapsing on his driveway like some consumptive maiden in a gothic romance novel. Are you alright? I'm fine. I just skipped breakfast and felt dizzy seeing. I trail off and he glances up at me, arching a brow, but says nothing. It's then I realize how vaguely surreal this is, having Twin Coves' wealthiest and oldest resident clean off my skinned palms and stick large bandages over the heels of my hands with such care. He stands and seems to study his handiwork for a moment, his brow furrowing. I can call Dr. Clearwater for you if you like. Have her take a look. She's far more skilled at doctoring than I. No, please, that's all right. This is great, thank you. I force a smile. The mention of Gideon's niece has me panicking all over again, though for a completely different reason. I never met her while I stayed with Gideon, and now I think it's best if I never do. She can't be pleased he left everything to me. Mr. Cross frowns again, but he's distracted when his personal assistant pops her head into the lobby to alert him to a call from the mayor. Please excuse me, I need to take this. You know your way to my office, yes? I'll be there shortly and we can talk further. He doesn't wait for an answer before leaving to take his call. I suspect we won't be discussing what I originally came here for. I'm tempted to just leave, but that feels rude after he played nurse, so I climb the stairs to the back of the house, like I have many times before. It strikes me that this is the first time I've been to Ivy House without Gideon, that he won't make the same joke about the art on the walls without being worth more money than either of us have seen in our entire lives. I feel my throat close up as I pass the familiar portrait of a woman and the painting of a vase. Such innocuous things, but now I'm fighting tears at the sight of them. I swallow the feeling down as I slip in through the office door and head to the Chesterfield sofa that sits against the bookshelf. But as I turn to sink into the leather, I see a flash of someone or something slipping through the door into the hallway. I freeze, then remain as still and silent as possible, hoping to catch the sound of footsteps, though I hear nothing. Stay in the office or follow the maybe hallucination? So, I guess, me personally, I would stay. But in this scenario, I'm so curious about everything. Let me... just because I know that there's a dead end here, and I don't have no idea what they look like, I'm going to do a little save here. And then follow the maybe hallucination. When I reach the hall, it's empty, because of course it is. Hello? Nothing. I walk a little ways down the hall, but there's nowhere to hide and I don't hear anyone on the wooden stairs. I'm on edge. I'm probably just being paranoid. I return to the office and take a seat. That's it? Okay. Oh well. Thankfully, Mr. Cross enters a few minutes later, though he looks exhausted. Forgive me, this has been a rather interesting morning. Are you sure your hands are all right? They're okay. Thank you for your help, Mr. Cross. Again. He gives a non-committal hum in response. You can call me Xander, you know. Mr. Cross makes me feel like an old man. He anticipates my smart remark, and before I can make it, he holds up his hand. I may be old, but I do not want to feel it, if I can help it, Miss Cooper. I smile despite myself. We've had this conversation before, but today I'm too tired to fight it. And if you can't be on a first-name basis with an ancient vampire after he personally puts band-aids on your scrapes, when can you be? Only if you call me Morgan. I don't want to feel old either, if I can help it. He chuckles, the sound a velvety baritone, then nods. It is a deal then, Morgan. It's a deal, Xander. The levity of the moment fades away, and Xander reaches up to rub at his temple. What happened with the... I can't say body, but I have to ask, though a part of me doesn't want him to answer. He sighs and sits on the edge of his desk, looking out through the stained glass window. I should not be telling you this, though if you are anything like Gideon, and I know you are, you'll have puzzled it out by the end of the day. It is looking like murder. Someone found a dead young woman just past the edge of the woods and called it in on the phone in the kitchens. It seems no one knows who the caller was. The sheriff's department has been here all morning. I would have called you to cancel our appointment, but I only arrived here myself half an hour ago. It regrettably slipped my mind. A familiar urge washes over me. I need more details. Ones I doubt he can give me. The easiest way would be to get them from the source, but a conversation with Gunnar North is the last thing I want to deal with right now. Forgive me, we don't need to talk about this. Are you sure you are all right? It would be no problem to call Dr. Clearwater. It might be good to get her expert opinion. For some reason, I get the feeling he's not just talking about my hands. And the psych evil... What? Psych evil sounds about as fun as another panic attack. Psychological evaluation? Is that what this is an abbreviation for? Okay. Really, I'm fine. He raises his hands in defeat, then glances at the blinking lights going haywire on the phone on his desk. I'm afraid I need to cut this appointment short, though perhaps we could meet tomorrow? Lunch, perhaps. We can discuss the issue I want you to look into then, if you're still willing. Mose? He fails to hide his grimace, and I swallow a laugh. I have a perfectly good restaurant right here, with a world-class chef no less. Tomorrow then, I will have my PA call you with a time. Sounds good. Until tomorrow then. Until tomorrow. He nods as I head out the door, turning his attention to his waiting calls. When I get to my car, I turn over the few facts I've learned in my mind. I don't know anything more than a young woman was most likely murdered, and that she had an all too familiar rose tattoo. But what's Occam's razor? The simplest explanation is usually the best one. I stand at my car, hand on my door handle, but I glance over at the woods. The line of dark trees seems to loom at the edges of Ivy House, closing in on the old manor. There's a flutter of yellow from the crime scene tape. The part of me that always wanted to know the truth is doing its best to claw its way out from inside the security blanket of fear I've wrapped myself in these past 6 months. I'm terrified. But there's rage in me too. And I make myself a promise right then and there. Not again. I'm not running again. I'm not hiding again. I can't let the past get the best of me. Whatever this is, I have to know. And this is what Gideon would have wanted. Me, facing down my fears. Looking for the truth. I climb on my car and start it up, the comforting rumble of the engine under me like my own personal pep squad. I need to take a look around the scene. Maybe I'll find something, maybe I won't, but I can't just walk into them from here, right where anyone can see me. Good thing the woods are all connected in Twin Coves. I pull up along the side of the road a mile down from Ivy House and take a deep, fortifying breath as I climb out of the Charger and face the trees. I don't want to be doing this. I take a step towards him anyway. I mean, it seems kind of dangerous no matter your background, but okay. As I head further into the trees, the scar along my forehead begins to itch and my shoulder pulses faintly. I clutch my hands into fists, grabbing onto the sleeves of Gideon's jacket. This feels a bit like poking a wound just to see if it hurts. You know for a fact it will, and yet you do it anyway, because you want to feel that hurt. there are no sounds other than the occasional birdsong. The forest is so peaceful, it's hard to imagine something as gruesome as a murder taking place here. I walk for what seems like ages, heading into the general direction of Ivy House. My shoes sink into the soft moss carpeting the forest floor as I scan the trees. I'm sure the sheriff has had his deputies scour the area, but it's not like I'm expecting to stumble onto a bloody knife just lying on the ground with a handy-dandy sticky note reading, "Murder weapon, with prints." What I'm hoping to find is probably something the authorities would have missed. I keep my eyes on the trees. I whirl around. Who's there? Keep quiet. I'm going to keep quiet. I freeze, ears straining. It was probably a squirrel, or a rabbit, or a fucking murderer, you fool. My palms are starting to sweat, my heart a steady beat in my ears. I slip my hand into my pocket and close my hand over the pepper spray on my keychain. I spin again in the other direction, eyes frantically scanning the surrounding area. Then I see a flash of fire moving through the trees. Run towards it or run in the opposite direction? What kind of fire are we talking about? I say run towards it. No, not fire. A person? I start jogging towards them, not even considering that I could be running towards a murderer. This is what got me in trouble the last time. This is what almost got me killed last time. I just don't know when to stop. It's what made me a great journalist once upon a time. The closer I get, the more easily I can make out the shape of someone navigating through the woods, 10 or so yards ahead. They are moving so quietly, I'm not even sure they are real. I'm also losing them fast. I pick up my pace, squinting as I chase after them. The foliage is so thick, the sun is nearly blotted out, making it hard to keep track of them. I'm not sure what I'll do if I reach them. Citizen's arrest is a thing, right? Only if there's immediate danger to you or someone else, I'm sure. Stop! It's then I notice they are carrying something long and shiny, like metal. Oh fuck. I stumble over an exposed root, crashing down onto my hands and knees for the second time today, my palms stinging all over again as they hit the dirt. My keys are a few feet ahead of me, along with my only method of self-defense, both items having been flung from my pocket as I whipped my hands out to stop my fall. Now I wish I had taken Gideon's advice and enrolled in the Krav Maga class. I stay motionless, hoping they didn't see me, or hear me. I'm not so fortunate. Are you injured? Whoever I had been pursuing is now in front of me, and speaking to me. I slowly raise my head, afraid of who or what I'll see. Bright red hair catches on a stream of sunlight peeking through the canopy of leaves overhead, turning it into a halo of fire. I realized that must have been what I saw. His hair catching the light. He's dressed strangely. My first thought is that the Renaissance Fair must be in town. My second is that he has a sword. I throw myself back, scrambling away from him and his very long, very real-looking blade. Stay away from me. I can't find my voice. I mean, considering he asked us if we're injured, I feel like he's not really a threat, but... I'm gonna stay quiet. However, he looks concerned, not murderous, which is a good sign. The man sheathes his weapon and closes the distance between us in a few steps, offering his hand out to me. The second hand that's been offered to me today. I'm not a fan of this emerging pattern of me needing to be helped off the ground. Give me your hand. His voice is accented, lilting softly. I think it's Scottish at first, but that's not quite right. I stare up at him. Take his hand or ignore it. We're going to take his hand. Hesitantly, I let him pull me up. He's stronger than he looks, and he doesn't exactly look weak. Once I'm on my feet, I notice that he's holding my keys and pepper spray, staring at them with an odd expression on his face. But he holds them both out to me a moment later, and I stuff them back in my jacket pocket. Who are you? He looks me up and down, though in an impersonal, appraising way. I should feel afraid of him. He's clearly in shape and can move like he weighs nothing at all. Not to mention the fact that he's wandering around the location where a dead body was recently found. And he has a sword. It's of no concern. I'm about to rebut that it is very much a concern when he turns suddenly and looks to... very much a concern when he turns suddenly and looks to the right, hand falling onto his sword pommel. I try not to panic. It's then I notice his slightly pointed ears. You should leave. I should do no such... I swing my gaze in the direction the man, or is it a fairy, is looking, trying to see what he must see. What's... But when I look back, he's gone. I hear another crunch, though now I doubt it was caused by the red-haired stranger. My eyes frantically search for any shape in the darkness or a sign of movement. 2 yellow eyes peer out of the trees, maybe 5 yards away, and my blood runs cold. They watch me steadily, though the wolf makes no move to come closer. Was this what I was hearing? How long has it been there, watching me stumble around the forest? It's far too large to be a natural wolf, which means a werewolf. Alone. I don't know why they would be down in Twin Coves, alone in the daytime, in wolf form. Unless this is a lone wolf? They're dangerous, the line between their human mind and wolf mind blurring together until they forget they were ever human. A wolf needs a pack. I hear the words in Gideon's voice. Even though he was a werewolf and, as far as I could tell, hardly saw others of his kind. I take a careful step back, never breaking eye contact. I don't know how deep into the forest I ventured, but I know I must be a ways in. The yellow eyes watch me as I back up slowly, heading back the way I came. Then the eyes are gone, followed by the gentle patter of running. It's then I notice the wolf only seems to have 3 legs. I don't pause to wonder why. I just turn tail and head back to my car as quickly as I can. It was foolish for me to wander around alone with nothing but pepper spray. Next time, I'll be smarter. I'm surprised by how easily the thought of next time comes to me, I smile. Because there will be a next time. My body is pumped full of adrenaline by the time I reach my car, all of today's events finally catching up with me. It takes a few tries to get the door unlocked. I doubt it is even past noon yet. I slip into the driver's seat, my breathing verging on hyperventilating, but I close my eyes and breathe in through my nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hold it for 3 counts, then exhale slowly. My knuckles are white as I grip my steering wheel, staring straight ahead as I process the facts. A woman was killed either in that forest or brought there later to be dumped. An armed man, possibly Fae, was wandering around the site, as well as a werewolf. Or perhaps the werewolf had been following me. Maybe the Fae? I also can't ignore the fact that the victim had a rose tattoo on their wrist. One I would know anywhere. One that fills me with both terror and fury. Fortunately, or unfortunately, I know exactly who's responsible for that last part of this whole thing. I need a drink, a nap, both. Or a nap. A long one. So, yeah, I rarely drink, so I don't think relying on alcohol when you're like, when it's for negative emotions, it's not that healthy. Once a while, it's not an issue really, but yeah. Especially if you're not super stable with your mental state, maybe turning to alcohol isn't the best idea, so yeah. I start the car and head back to my apartment. When I get to my building, I notice that monstrosity of a truck is still there. However, now it's taken my usual spot. I didn't notice it before, but there is faint writing along the door. It's painted in an old-timey font, the yellow paint practically entirely chipped off. Sawyer and Sons Carpentry. I make a mental note to run its plates and see who owns it. Perhaps I've let my new private investigator powers go to my head. I take the steps up to my floor 2 at a time, though I'm so focused on running the events of the day through my head that when I reach my apartment door, I almost crash into the person standing in front of it. Sorry. Wait. I focus my attention on this new stranger despite the sane part of my brain is telling me to run. He's massive, well over 6 feet tall, and I stagger back as he turns around to face me. 3 deep scars run down his right cheek into his days-old scruff. But the height and the scars aren't the most noticeable thing about him. It's the shock of white through his brown hair. I look down at the key he's holding in his hand. He looks down to where I'm staring, then back at me. Are you trying to break into my apartment? Really? Can I catch a fucking break today? He's silent for a moment. Your apartment? Yes, my apartment. I should be terrified by this scenario, and I admit it's not comforting, but the adrenaline from earlier is making me feel invincible, and slightly lightheaded. I'm just so tired of being scared. This is Gideon's place. I'm stunned silent for a moment, shocked to meet someone who knew Gideon that I'm not familiar with, or at least have heard of. The fact he knew Gideon makes me feel a little less uneasy. It almost makes me forget he was trying to open my door. Almost. How did you know Gideon? He cocks his head, assessing me for a moment, then his eyes widen slightly. You must be Morgan. I don't know if I should be relieved or worried that he knows my name. And you are? Eli. I wait a moment to see if he elaborates, but he doesn't. Okay. And are you going to address why you were trying to break into my apartment? He smiles a little, momentarily catching me off guard at the almost impish quality of it. Is it considered breaking and entering if I have a key? Yes, actually. You don't need to break down the door for it to be considered a B&E. It's about the intent to commit a crime. Gideon told me it was important to know the law before you broke it. Private investigators tend to work around the law a bit, I learned. Do you have the intention to commit a crime? Again, he waits a beat to reply. No. The key didn't work anyway. Like that's supposed to make me feel better. I am doubly glad Gideon changed the locks now, and added a few more. He steps away from my door and pockets the key, though judging by the size of him, he wouldn't need a key to enter. I have no doubt he could ram his way through, deadbolts and all. You still haven't told me who you are, or why you are here. My name is Eli Sawyer, and to get a few things. This conversation is the equivalent of pulling teeth, you know. And if you intended to remove items from the premises, that's stealing. Also known as a crime. At least I know the truck belongs to him now. For some reason, he smiles again, but it's not threatening. It's like he finds me amusing. He clears his throat and scratches at his prickly cheek, eyes averted. I'm sorry, I didn't know anyone lived here. Lila asked me to grab a few things for her. She didn't mention anyone. Lila? As in Dr. Lila Clearwater? Gideon sneeze. How do you know Lila Clearwater? She's married to my sister. Shit. I cringe when I realize I said that out loud, but he only arches a brow, the corner of his mouth tilting up again. I really should have contacted Lila by now, apologized for Gideon leaving me everything. Extended condolences at least. He was her real family after all. I was just the child of a single mom he took pity on. Are you a werewolf then? He nods. I think of the maybe werewolf I encountered in the woods earlier today, but I doubt he could be one and the same. Not unless he's faster than a car. Okay, offer to help him or ask him to leave. It's a bit of an awkward situation, but especially if we want to make it right with Lila, but we should try to help him, yeah? He genuinely seems to have thought the apartment wasn't lived in, and if he's Lila's brother-in-law, I suppose it couldn't hurt to let him go through Gideon's things. I know I haven't been able to. Look, now's not the best time for me. Could you come back sometime tomorrow to look through his things? I'll even help you. His organizational system was a bit haphazard. And it'll give me time to run a background check on him. If you wouldn't mind, I'll be in the area for a little while. No problem. He stuffs his hands into his jeans pockets and nods in goodbye, then heads back down the stairs, each one creaking loudly as he leaves. I watch him go, waiting a few moments longer than I need to before heading inside. Once I'm inside, I redo all the locks and check them twice before shrugging out of my jacket and dropping it onto the couch. God, this day has already been a headache, and it's only about to get worse. Best to get it over with. I head into my bedroom and pull the shoebox out from under my bed. I haven't opened this since I moved back here, and honestly, I never thought I would again. It's stuffed full of some notebooks I used back in my journalist days, hospital bills, some random memorabilia I no longer wanted, but couldn't bring myself to throw away. And at the very bottom is a black business card with only a phone number on the back, and on the front, a single name: Asriel. Asriel. I sit on a stool at the kitchen counter, staring at the little black rectangle in my hand. In my other is a phone, the dial tone droning from the receiver. This is where it all started last time. This card. One call. I should have known I wasn't really safe. A part of me wants to believe the tattoo was a coincidence. Maybe I saw what I wanted to see. Still, I need to know for sure. Because if it was that rose tattoo, it could only have come from him. I turn my attention to the drink in front of me. A shot of whiskey or a Jolt Cola? I already said my bit about alcohol. It's barely noon and I'm already lagging. I need all the help I can get. After I knock back the entirety of my drink and give myself a little shake, I press the familiar sequence of numbers, then hold the receiver to my ear and listen to it ring. Once. Twice. Hello, kitten. It's been a while. To what do I owe the honor? His voice is practically a purr on the other end, and it sends a shiver down my spine. And not in a good way. I refuse to acknowledge the stupid nickname he bestowed upon me. Asriel, we need to talk. My, sounds serious. It is. Business or pleasure? There's a throaty laugh through the speaker, and I can feel my blood pressure spiking. It takes all my self-control to force the word through my clenched teeth. Business. You know I don't talk business over the phone, kitten. The levity in his tone is gone, replaced by something steely and sharp. Well, you better start, because you promised I'd be safe, and I was just at the scene of a murder less than an hour ago. And the victim had one of your tattoos. Again. There's silence on the other end of the line, long enough that I begin to think he hung up on me. Then he speaks, voice low. Where are you? Where I told you I'd be when we made our deal. Give me your address. You're not coming to my apartment. A pause. A sigh. Then where? I rack my brain for a place to meet. Some place public, but not too public. And a place with a little backup, just in case. The Green Knight, the local pub just across from Moe's, will probably do. Not too many people should be inside this time of the afternoon. And the owner, Briar, is not exactly human, as far as I can tell. They were friendly with Gideon. They'd step in if things got ugly. I hope. I tried to keep my voice steady, though I'm sure Asriel can sense my anxiety even through the phone. There's a pub in town. We can meet there. How's their scotch selection? I don't know whether to laugh or scream. I say nothing. Fine, I'll be there shortly. What? But before I can get an answer, he's ended the call. I wasn't expecting to meet him today. I don't think all the caffeine in the world will help me now, but it can't hurt. I make my way to the rear entrance of the Green Knight, hoping to at least have the advantage of surprise by going in the back. The old brick building faces west, hiding the afternoon sun and washing the alleyway in a cool shade. I shiver and run my hands up and down my arms. Let's just get this over with. There you are. I've been waiting for you. I jump as Azrael emerges from the alcove and leans against the entryway, the light above the door casting his face in shadow. What the fuck, man? Don't just do that. My apologies. I doubt he's actually sorry. His pale red eyes study me from behind his sunglasses, which he wears even in the dark alleyway. The right side of his mouth is pulled up into a smirk, though he looks tired, even more so than the previous times I've met him. Not that I would ever tell him that. How the hell did you get here so fast? He shrugs. Magic. Of course. Fucking magic. So, what is this about a murder? I cross my arms and glance around. Apparently, we're having this conversation in an alleyway then. Brilliant. Maybe if I scream, Briar will be able to hear me. Someone murdered a young woman and left the body in the woods by a bed and breakfast, just northeast of here. She had one of your rose tattoos on her wrist. I think. He arches a brow at that, but says nothing. Look, this is a quiet town. Nothing happens here. That's why I chose this place when I needed to lay low. I've been here all of 6 months and now there's a possible murder that may or may not bear similarities to other certain murders. I'm scared or I'm angry. Well, it seems it's both. This one seems more honest. And I'm just leaning towards I'm scared. I hate admitting this, especially to him. But Gideon's gone. Who else do I have but a morally ambiguous pixie who helped me out once? Granted, for a price. After I accused him of murder to his face multiple times. I should be terrified of him, and I am, but not as much as I probably should be. I could never explain it, but even when we first met, I felt sure he wouldn't kill me. Wouldn't hurt me. He's a bad man, undoubtedly. I just could never really see him as the killer. Even now. Even though there's evidence pointing to his involvement somehow. That's probably why I never pursued that angle more, or mentioned him to my boss when I worked at the paper. I really don't want to be wrong about him. I'm scared. I'm scared that what happened 6 months ago has followed me home, and that I'll be next. I can't bring myself to say the name the papers gave the murderer, the one that started all of this. That they've followed me here. And I'm angry, because when we made our deal, you said I'd be safe. that I'd hide away in my little seaside town and let it all blow over. You promised you weren't involved. My final words sound petulant, but I'm beyond caring. I gave you 5 years of my life, and now I'm thinking all I got was this stupid tattoo. I yanked my jacket aside and undo the zipper of my hoodie just enough to pull it down, revealing the rose tattoo over my right shoulder. It does a decent enough job obscuring the scar under it. Bullet wounds surprisingly don't leave much evidence behind. And it's the same rose tattoo I saw on the dead body today. The same tattoo that was on the previous victims. The story I had been covering before it all went wrong. They're also the same rose tattoos that cover Azrael from neck to wrist, save for the death's head hawkmoth tattoo on his throat. I knew I shouldn't have trusted you. I knew you had to be involved, working with them. I zipped my hoodie back up and wrapped the scar along my forehead. Another souvenir from the night that almost killed me. Azrael has the audacity to laugh, but it sounds bitter. Back on this, are we? I'm the big bad wolf terrorizing the streets, just because I gave a few desperate people tattoos. He steps away from the wall and stalks towards me. He's not an overly tall man, but he still manages to make me back up a step. Do you know what else desperate people do? Make stupid decisions that get them killed. We both know they're more than tattoos. They're deals. You're making my point. If someone is desperate enough to make a deal with me, they're as desperate as one can get. And people with no one to turn to and nowhere to run make perfect victims. And you're making mine. You just said your clients make perfect victims and have an endless supply of them. And you have an endless supply of them who come right to your door. Then you're rather foolish to be meeting me in a dark alleyway, no? His smile turns slightly feral, revealing his sharp double canines. He sighs and turns away, running his hands through his white hair. The tired expression is back. And what exactly would my motivation be then? I don't know. To get your rocks off? He spins to face me and looks genuinely disgusted by my suggestion. One little problem, kitten. If my clients die, I don't get their years. So what's the point of making deals if I get nothing out of it? I don't have an answer for that, and by his expression, he knows it. I don't have anyone left. Unshed tears clog my throat, a backlog from today's events. This past month's events. 6 months even. And I need someone to trust. I need to be able to trust you. His face hardens at the wobble in my voice, at my show of human weakness and fear. Trust that I'll keep my end of the bargain. You, on the other hand, need to keep yours. Lay low. Don't go investigating suspicious murders or meeting men in dark alleyways. I'll take care of it. But no buts. He opens his mouth to say something else, but then his eyes widen, swinging to look over my shoulder. Azrael goes preternaturally still. A moment later, a bone-chilling breeze whips through the narrow alley, followed by every light flickering on and off before finally plunging us into darkness. The sound of light bulbs exploding and raining glass down on the pavement makes me freeze in place myself. It also almost muffles the voice speaking softly from somewhere behind me. Stop running from me, Pixie. Tell me, where is it? Move closer to Ezreal or stay put. Both could be dangerous. Maybe he can protect us? This is not gonna be a fatal decision, is it? I'm scared, and when you're scared, do a save. Okay, I'm gonna move closer. The words feel like ice sliding down my spine, and I find myself taking a step towards us, closer to Ezreal. If it's a choice between the devil and the deep blue sea, I'm choosing the devil. At least I know what to expect. Your Highness. Ezreal's words are a sneer. To what do I owe the honor? I slowly rotate to see who he's staring at. My heart drops into my stomach when I see a tall, pale man in a long coat, his blue-black hair flowing like ink over his shoulders. The air is so static around him, I can almost hear it cracking, every hair on my body standing on end. There's no doubt what this newcomer is. Fairy. You've been avoiding me. I shouldn't be surprised. You are a traitor after all. The word traitor catches my attention, though maybe if Ezreal betrayed this guy, he did a good thing. Rook, you're frightening my companion. I throw a side eye at Ezreal for calling me his companion, but he ignores me, keeping his focus on the fairy. Rook was his name? Or one of them, at least. The fairy doesn't even deign to look in my direction, which is fine by me. Where is it? Tell me now, and you'll keep your head. I will not repeat myself again. Ezreal's smirk falls, and his fingers flick subtly at his sides. It's only then I notice his nails have extended into claws, and his features have sharpened into something a little less human-looking. He's frightened too. He glances at me, his voice low. We're leaving. I don't have time to reply before he grips me tightly around the upper arm, and the ground drops out from under me. I think I scream. When I come to, I'm in a hallway, leaning heavily on Ezreal for support. I jerk out of his hold and lean against the wall instead, my head spinning and my stomach threatening to empty its meager contents. My sense of up and down is touch and go for a few moments. Who was that? None of your business. He rubs his chin. Stay away from him too. You won't hear an argument from me. I think I hear a mutter for once under his breath, but I can't be sure. It's then I notice I'm in my apartment building. Why did you ask for my address if you already knew where I lived? Maybe if I'm mad, I'll forget how scrambled my insides feel. Ezreal makes a non-committal sound. Etiquette? So, is it just a coincidence that a dead woman was found with your tattoo on her wrist the very same day a pissed-off fairy is chasing you down, calling you a traitor? Let's not have this conversation out here. He grabs my door handle and I'm about to tell him it's locked when the door swings open easily. He smiles. Well, that's comforting. And not surprising at all somehow. He ushers me inside and follows me in, closing the door behind us and clicking all the locks closed with a snap of his fingers. I will also be ignoring that. Just how powerful is he? Interesting. I don't know much about pixies. So what? Is it a coincidence? I had nothing to do with the woman who was murdered here, and that... He shoves a hand through his hair and takes a deep breath, his tone calmer when he continues. That fairy had nothing to do with it either. We've never got on, and he likes to blame me for every crease in his robes and pebble in his boots. He sighs and levels me with a look that is full of so much open sincerity, I think I may actually believe him. Just keep your head down, and I'll keep you safe. You can trust me. In this, at least. He makes sure to meet my eyes. And don't get involved. What if... No. No buts. No what ifs. You couldn't keep your nose out of trouble 6 months ago, and I know what you're thinking now. Stay out of it. I choose to be contrary. I'm literally a private investigator. Asriel snorts. Be a bad one. Just this once. The asshole even fucking winks at me. Be a good girl. Call if you need me. You better not betray me, Asriel. Never, kitten. And I hate that fucking nickname. Sure, kitten. And then he's gone, standing in my apartment 1 second and then gone, quite literally, the next. Good riddance. Yet, I can't help but feel a little lonely. But more importantly, I need a fucking nap. That's a lot happening in one day. A lot of people to meet too. I wake up, face down on the couch in a puddle of drool, and blink slowly, glaring over at the clock on the wall. 8:17 p.m. Nearly 8 hours. Less of a nap, more of a blacking out then. Okay, so that wasn't even so much happening in a day, it was so much happening in the morning. Oh well. I shuffle in the pitch black to the kitchen and flick on the light over the sink. After filling a glass of water, I chug it down in an attempt to assuage, I don't know how to pronounce this word, my parched throat. My entire body aches, a combination of falling twice, running through the woods, and being transported or teleported or whatever the fuck Asriel did to me. The energy drink and multiple cups of coffee didn't help. I rub at my forehead and my stomach growls, reminding me I haven't eaten anything all day. Thankfully, I'm hungry, though I never did make it to the grocery store. I pick through the pile of mail I tossed on the counter a few days ago and locate the Lucky's Pizzeria ad to check for coupons. Delivery it is. As I dial the number to place my order, I sift through the rest of the pile, sorting it into junk and keep. An envelope catches my eye on the bottom of the stack, the wrong name and incorrect address. Lucky's Pizzeria. We're lucky you called us. Will this be for pickup or delivery? Shit. Pardon? No, sorry, delivery. After I place my order, I turn my attention back to the letter. It was supposed to go to the apartment above me. It's been over a week, and at this point I might as well cut my losses and toss the letter. But no, I should hand it over. It could be life or death information for all I know. And if I don't do it right now, I'll just forget. My day's been chaotic enough. Why not deliver a letter? I stuff the letter in my pocket and exit my apartment, locking my door and checking it twice before heading upstairs. I'm sorry, I had to laugh because the doors are just flipped. Literally that whole picture from the hallway is just flipped. Cute. When I find the letter's apartment, I knock and wait, but no one answers. Which is odd, because I can hear music playing softly inside and see a sliver of light from under the door. My mind immediately goes to the inhabitant lying dead on the living room floor. If there's another dead body today in my own apartment building, I swear. I give a series of slightly firmer knocks and call out a tentative hello. It's then I notice a small white rectangular box affixed to the wall, looking quite a bit like a doorbell. I give it a press, but hear nothing. Odd. Okay, so you don't usually have doorbells? I mean, so I saw one screenshot on the shop page and I think I know why this is a thing here, but don't you normally have doorbells in your apartment? Like not only at the main building's entrance, but also on the individual doors. Okay. After another minute, I give up and bend down to attempt to shove the letter under the door, hoping I'm not leaving fingerprints behind at a crime scene, because that's the last thing I need, when the door swings open and a pair of bare feet come into view. Hello? I slowly stand, which has me staring at first a pair of toned legs, then towel-clad hips, followed by abs and a broad chest. Finally, my eyes make it to the face. Oh no, he's hot, or bold of him to answer the door in a towel. I mean, both of these. A tall, muscular man leans one arm against the doorframe, his other hand at his waist. His towel-clad waist. He cocks his head slightly, eyebrow raised in question. But he's smiling. And he's wet. Dripping wet. My eyes can't help but follow a bed of water as it slips from the tip of his blue-green hair, sliding down his pectoral, along the ridges of his stomach, before running down the V-shaped lines where his hips meet his pelvis. I suddenly realize he can very obviously see me, and has seen me check him out. Twice. I should have tossed the letter. Or just put it in his letterbox. That's what I would have done, but okay. I glance away, trying to make it look like I heard something down the hall. Sorry, your mail ended up with mine and I've been meaning to bring it round, but I kept putting it off, then forgetting I have it. I've been a little lately. Anyway. Great. I'm delirious with hunger and embarrassment, and now I'm babbling. I don't know what you're saying. A gentle touch has me turning my face back to his. Then he gestures to my mouth. I need to see your lips. He extends his first two fingers and then does a drop followed by a single bounce with his hand as he speaks. I'm hard of hearing, so I usually read people's lips. He then holds out his hand, and I can't help but notice how big his palm is as I shake it. I'm Lear, by the way. I'm not sure if it's Lear or Lur. Lur? Lear? I'm going with Lear. Morgan. I'm under you. I mean, I'm beneath you. I mean, I live beneath you. in an apartment. 107. Well, I can never leave my apartment again. The risk of running into him is too great. It's nice to meet you, Morgan. I shove the letter into his hand and take a step back, hoping I can learn his schedule so I can at least avoid him in the halls. That's yours. Sorry it took me so long to get it to you, and sorry for bothering you during... I glance down at the towel again, then whip my eyes back up to his. God, why can't I stop? I'm blaming this on my lack of nutrition today. His large brown eyes smile at me as he takes the letter and tucks it under his arm. No worries. It was nice to meet you, and thank you for bringing my mail. Glad I could help. I start backing up down the hall, ready to eat my pizza and have this day be over with. Have a good rest of your night. I turn to leave, but he takes a step forward. Wait, let me buy you a drink, to thank you. It was nothing, really. And prolonged contact will only risk me make a further fool of myself. Also, this sounds suspiciously like a date, which is the last thing I need right now. Especially with my upstairs neighbor. I'm a bartender over at the Green Knight. You can stop by when I'm working and I'll make you anything you like. It was just a letter, but he's looking at me so hopefully, and I'm surprised to learn he works at the Green Knight, though I only went there once or twice with Gideon in the past 6 months. Perhaps when I'm there I can pick Briar's brain about fairies and pixies. Maybe they're familiar with Asriel, or this rook. If Asriel thought I'd truly stay out of this, he doesn't know me at all. I guess that decides it. I hope you can make a mean rum and coke. Do you have any virgin drink options? So... I think... So, when you go to a bar, of course you're more likely to order an alcoholic drink. No matter what I said before, but then again, if this is... Yeah, as I said, with the mental state Morgan seems to be in, I think we should go with this. I don't know if this is a choice that's more to... Yeah, to decide Morgan's taste. If it really has anything to do with if she's getting better or not, or if this is something, to do with him. Like, does he not like people who don't drink ever or what? Which seems kind of dumb, right? So, I'm going with the virgin drink options. I don't need a repeat of this morning's hangover anytime soon. Maybe ever. Of course. Well, who am I to turn down a free drink? Good. This Saturday? 9 o'clock? Saturday, sure, 9. I back up down the hall with an awkward wave and make my escape. I return to my floor, trying my best not to dwell on my very attractive and very wet upstairs neighbor or the drink he will be making me this weekend, when I notice the pizza guy waiting for me at my door. Perfect timing. Sorry, I was just upstairs. He turns at the sound of my voice and I freeze, my mood taking a sudden nosedive. Takeda. I've known Kaito Takeda since we were 13. He was my rival throughout high school for every journalistic opportunity, so much so that they had to make a special exception and allow us both to be editor of the school newspaper our senior year. He blinks. Cooper. I lost track of him when he went off to college, though I'd be lying if I said I didn't read his articles when I found out he got a job at a well-respected newspaper. Before I did, which stung. Everything always seemed to come easy to him, unlike for me. Last I heard, he had moved back here to take over the local paper, the Twin Coves Daily. Unless he's had an abrupt career change, he's not my pizza guy. Why are you holding my pizza, or what are you doing here? Why are you holding my pizza? You weren't answering your door and the pizza guy was about to leave, so I paid him. It's my pizza now. Are you kidding? His serious expression breaks and he chuckles. Chill, it's still your pizza. I mean, I did pay for it, but think of it as a peace offering. I take the box from him and flip the lid open to inhale that sweet, sweet pizza scent before I place it on the counter. I don't look at Kai as I grab a slice and take a bite. It's strange to have him standing in my kitchen. So, what's the peace offering for? The grocery store. I must look lost because he elaborates. It was months ago. We hadn't been back that long and we bumped into each other. Literally. I tried to think back to 6 months ago, but honestly, I barely remember anything from that time. I'm impressed I even left the apartment. We collided in the frozen fruit section. I snapped at you and then kept walking. It's fine if you don't remember. I shake my head. I was rude, and I felt guilty afterward. I wanted to apologize. A brief memory pops into my head. Kai staring at me strangely, then storming off. Yeah, I think I remember that now. But it was a while ago. No hard feelings. Oh, I'm sure I had a lot of hard feelings at the time, however. But Kai and I aren't in school anymore, even though I still have an inexplicable urge to gloat that I scored higher on the sets than he did. Still, I'm sorry. I was just jet-lagged and surprised to see you, and... He clears his throat. I'm not the most personable of people. As you know. I wave the comment away, though I do know. We went to school together for 5 years and treated each other as our personal arch-nemesis. I guess it means I may not be the most personable person either. Water under the bridge. I slide the box over to him and raise a brow. Want a slice? I mean, you did pay for it. I can make a peace offering of my own. Thanks, but I'm fine. I shrug and pull it back, grabbing another slice to stuff into my mouth as I hunch over the counter. The cheese burns the roof of my mouth, but I don't care. My 8-hour-long nap really woke up my appetite. Kai takes a seat on one of the stools, arms folded in front of him. So I guess he's staying to watch me eat by myself then. I'd offer him something else, but I doubt he'd want a plate full of mustard. Then it hits me. Oh, that's right, you're allergic to cheese. I'm speaking with my mouth full, but I'm so hungry I don't care about that either. Dairy, but yes. They had to order special lunches for you at school and everything. They came with plastic wrap on them. Why do you remember that of all things? I take another bite and shrug. I don't know. I thought a lot about Kai back then, mostly about how to one-up him. Kai snorts and leans forward, resting his elbows on the counter. Then his gaze catches on something, and he frowns. Shit, I should have picked up that whiskey bottle. How did you get that scar? I freeze, pizza halfway to my mouth. He nods at the 2-inch-long scar on the left side of my forehead, just close enough to my hairline that I'd hoped it would make it less noticeable. Sorry, I shouldn't have asked. You just didn't have that when we were kids, and it looks recent. I swallow. That's because it is. Lie or lie? Oh, okay then. Let's do the top lie. Oh, it's nothing. I chipped and hit my head on the side of a dresser. Super clumsy of me. Kai sucks on a breath through his teeth. Damn. Ouch. Yeah. He glances down at my bandaged hands. And what happened there? What is this? 20 questions? I try to force a laugh, but Kai only looks concerned. For some reason, it annoys me. I shrug and take another bite. I fell. We both fall silent, though by the way he's still studying me, I'm not sure he believes me. You know, you never told me why you came here in the first place. I doubt you knew I ordered pizza and planned to swoop in to pay for it. Kai presses his tongue to the side of his cheek and looks away, uneasy. I wanted to apologize for being rude. He glances up at me, then around my apartment. It's subtle, but I see the shift in his face. When he speaks again, his voice is gentle, careful. I hate that voice. Look, I know you weren't that close. I know we weren't that close in high school, but you don't seem like yourself. The Morgan I knew, she was the brightest person in the room. Kai attempts a smile, but it falls flat. She didn't hesitate before opening her front door, he means. Or hardly leave her home, or pass out on the couch after downing Gideon's favorite brand of whiskey just to feel close to him and get a few hours of sleep without nightmares for once. And I'm never doing that again. You can talk to me. Are you doing okay? He hesitates, then sighs. Or maybe you should talk to a professional. There's no... I attempt to slam the pizza box closed. It barely makes a sound, which is disappointing. I'm so sick of people asking me how I am. I don't need anyone's help. I just need more time. I'm fine. Doing great. He flicks his gaze down to my overflowing trash can, stuffed full of soggy takeout containers, empty energy drink cans, and used coffee filters. He says nothing, only drags a hand down his face. I'm bad at this. You are. What are you doing here, Kai? He sighs. Now it's 2 hands down his face. I don't think now's a good time. You came here, so it must be important. Why are you really here? I didn't want to bring this to you. At least not yet. Not until I had more. They found a dead body today. I know. What does it have to do with anything? Kai looks surprised. How do you... Never mind. He shifts forward, his hand momentarily reaching out, but he pulls back at the last moment before continuing. The thing is, I don't believe it was the first murder to happen recently. They both may even be connected. His dark eyes meet mine. Morgan, I don't think Gideon died of a heart attack. I think he was murdered. To be continued. You're leaving out on that. Leaving us on that. Of course. The Kickstarter is over, I believe, and they met almost all their stretch goals. But yeah, here are the contacts of the devs. And of course, I always have the link to the game in the description below as well. One for each here. Okay, I cannot click anywhere to get back to the menu. But yeah, that was a lot and not much at all, because we still don't know. I mean, it's a mystery, right? It's supposed to be a mystery, and we're supposed to unravel it in the main game, which comes out next year in October, I think. Still a long while to go. But yeah, some time to look forward to it. Really interesting so far. And yeah, obviously this is meant to kind of set the tone, get you to meet all the characters. And yeah, it seems very intriguing to me. Like the art and everything. Yeah, interesting. So I'll definitely play the full game when it comes out, but not on the channel, because this is an 18+ game. I don't do those on the channel for reasons. But yeah, please follow the devs and play the demo for yourself, maybe with different choices, if you want to. We didn't get the dead end. Yeah, please leave me a comment down below what you thought of this. Which character would you want to go for as a love interest? And yeah, that's it from me. Thank you for watching. Until next time. Bye bye!